Hey there, and a really warm welcome to this explainer. Look, if you found your way here today, I want you to know right off the bat that you've landed in a safe, deeply supportive space. We're going to be exploring a deeply painful and honestly often invisible feeling that so many of us just kind of carry around in silence. It's a feeling that can make the world seem incredibly unsafe, not because of what's actually happening around you, but because of this heavy, silent belief about who you are on the inside. So I'm going to guide us through this material with as much care and empathy as I can, because the concepts we're looking at today, they're deeply personal. So let's dive right in with a really poignant question. Have you ever felt fundamentally flawed? Just broken at your core? Imagine Athena. She's sitting at her desk, and a totally routine email pops up from her supervisor saying, "I'd like to discuss some concerns about the project." Simple words, right? But instantly, her heart is pounding, her vision narrows, and this cold wave just sweeps through her body. Her whole system is screaming that she's not just in trouble at work, but that her very right to exist is under attack. Or take Koji. He's at a neighborhood get-together, and someone casually mentions his fence might be, a few inches over the property line. It wasn't even unkind, but inside, Koji completely crumbles. He feels painfully exposed and totally disconnected. These aren't just overreactions, guys. They are visceral, terrifying experiences where your very existence feels threatened.
Section 1. The hidden fungal infection. Let's get into it.
To really understand what Athena and Koji are going through, we need to name it and kind of journey beneath the surface, because there's a massive psychological difference at play here. Ordinary guilt, it whispers, "I did something wrong." It's tied to an action. But existential shame, it screams, "I am wrong." This right here is the crucial aha moment for so many people. We aren't just talking about having low self-esteem or having a bad day. Existential shame is this terrifying, bone-deep belief that you are inherently defective, irredeemable, and fundamentally unacceptable at your core. It's not about making a mistake, it's about believing that you are the mistake. I want you to think of your sense of self like a magnificent tree. You're designed to grow tall, to reach for the light, and to bear wonderful fruit. But existential shame, it's like a hidden fungal infection. It entered the tree during those really vulnerable sapling years. From the outside, you might look like a fully grown, perfectly functioning tree to everyone else. But internally, this invisible infection has compromised the pathways where water and nutrients are supposed to flow. It affects absolutely everything, from how you process feedback to your confidence and your ability to reach your full potential.
Moving on to Section 2. Where the infection starts.
Now, I want to be incredibly clear before we even unpack this. You didn't ask for this infection, and you are absolutely not at fault for carrying it, okay? The infection takes root when the sapling is just trying its best to survive in a harsh environment. This usually happens through childhood trauma or emotional abuse. We're talking about things like relentless criticism, where you're basically taught your worth depends entirely on being perfect, or conditional love, where approval is only handed out when you perform well. It can also come from emotional neglect, where your feelings are totally dismissed, or gaslighting, where your very reality is denied, leaving you wondering if you're just broken for experiencing the world the way you do. The tree wasn't bad, guys. The environment was toxic. The tree simply had to adapt to survive it.
And this survival adaptation, it literally changes how we function. Our brain, which is trying its absolute best to protect us, gets stuck in a loop. It learns to constantly scan the environment for threats just to keep you safe. Your brain's alarm system becomes hypersensitive. It starts treating even mild social cues, like that comment about Koji's vents, as massive threats of rejection. This literally hardwires the pain into your nervous system. But remember, this just means your system learned a really extreme way to protect you. It absolutely does not mean you're broken.
Section 3. How the tree adapts. It is so important that we take the stigma away from these behaviors, because they aren't character flaws. They are brilliant, desperate survival strategies. One huge adaptation is perfectionism. For a lot of people, perfectionism is the system's way of overproducing growth to try and outrun what it thinks is internal decay. The unconscious logic is kind of like, well, if I can just be absolutely perfect, maybe I'll finally be acceptable. It's an exhausting trauma drive. You might achieve incredible things, sure, but it's fueled by this desperate attempt to compensate for those perceived internal failings.
Another super common adaptation is people-pleasing, or fawning. This is when you develop this finely tuned radar for what everyone else needs, completely abandoning your own needs in the process. And why do we do this? Because you're constantly looking for external proof that you belong. It shows up as hypersensitivity to criticism and an exhausting pattern of trying to manage everyone else's emotions just to soothe your own secret fear of being unacceptable. It makes total sense when you realize what your system is actually trying to protect you from. And then there's the collapse response. Sometimes the weight of all that existential shame is just too much to carry. You might find yourself giving up, self-sabotaging, or just going entirely numb. This is dissociation. It's a protective shield that drops down when your nervous system is feeling 24/7 overwhelming pain. If you're experiencing distress 24/7, the brain simply unplugs to protect the system. Honestly, it's a profound act of self-preservation. Section 4. Healing your inner ecosystem. Healing is not about fixing yourself, because again, say it with me, you were never broken. It's about gradually restoring your inner ecosystem to its natural, healthy state. The first real step in this healing process is learning to work with the protective parts of yourself with compassion instead of fighting them. So try these 3 simple steps. First, find a quiet moment for yourself. Second, notice where you feel this shame in your body. Maybe it's a heavy feeling in your chest or some tension in your throat. Third, approach that feeling with gentle curiosity. Acknowledge that a part of you carries this belief to protect you and just think it. We want to treat our inner ecosystem with empathy, not warfare. Now, because this wound formed in relationships, it almost always heals best within safe relationships. Whether that's with a trauma-informed therapist or a genuinely supportive friend, safe connections usually share a few key traits. They offer empathy over judgment, they deeply respect your boundaries, and they are consistent over time. Simply being seen in all your imperfection and still being valued, that is incredibly powerful medicine for the roots of your tree. And as you heal, it's crucial to practice separating your behavior from your identity. There's a stark difference between these two mindsets. Saying, I made a mistake, allows you to take responsibility for an action, learn from it, and grow. But saying, I am bad, condemns your entire being. Learning to untangle what you do from who you are is just an absolutely critical practice in clearing out that fungal infection. Section 5. You are not broken. As we enter this final phase of healing, I really want you to remember something crucial. When you feel a sudden, overwhelming wave of shame, what we call a shame flashback, I want you to take a deep breath and tell yourself, this feeling is not about my worth. This pain belongs to the past. These sudden waves, they're just echoes of old trauma. They are emotional memories, not objective truths about who you are today. You are learning and you are growing. And as your tree begins to heal, something surprising might actually happen. You might start to feel angry. And honestly, that is a beautiful thing. Reclaiming healthy anger is a profound sign of life. It means your system is finally remembering its inherent right to exist, its right to have boundaries, and its right to self-protection without having to apologize for it. I really encourage you to look closely at the evidence of your inherent worth. Look at the healthy parts of your tree, the times you've shown kindness, the amazing growth you've achieved. Beyond that, lean into the spiritual and universal truths that you are unconditionally loved and valued, completely independent of your performance or your past. Your worth is innate. It always has been. So I want to leave you with this provocative thought. What will your tree look like when it's finally free to grow, when that heavy, hidden infection is no longer running the show? The journey to find out is entirely worth it, I promise you. This explainer is just one small chapter of a much larger journey of profound insights. To truly understand and continue nurturing your inner ecosystem, you really need to dive into the full source material. Go out and grab a copy of the book There's a Word for That by Ellen Tift. It will guide you so much farther down this path of healing. Thank you so much for learning with me today, and remember, you have always been enough.